go live. All right, so we should be good. I'm gonna hop over back into Zoom, hit record. Cool, dude, we are live. So, what up, you guys? It is Garrett Fankhauser with FFL Funnels. Today, we have a special treat for you. The other day, I asked you guys if you thought that it would be a good idea for me to bring in my new freaking SEO wizard, Ben. He's our new SEO manager. And I was asking if you guys wanted to like do kind of a Facebook Live once a week for, maybe a few weeks to kind of dig in and really help you guys understand all of the aspects of SEO, right? We throw that word around a lot. You guys hear a lot about it. I talk with you guys on a regular basis, and I hear like, I need to do SEO. I need more SEO, right? But I don't know what the fuck it is. So what we're going to be trying to do with you guys is my boy Ben has put together kind of an agenda, and we're going to start walking through basically like what it is, man, what it is, why it's important, how it separates one business from the next, how long it takes, what tools to use. We're going to be digging into all of this stuff throughout a multi-week type thing, right? So to get started and kind of set some ground rules for the way that this video is going to work, we're a couple minutes late, whatever, but we're planning on doing 1 p.m. PST each week. If we need to change it, I'll let you guys know in the group on Wednesdays. And so as far as this video, if you guys are watching it live, do me a favor and comment live in the comments. That will boost this up and put it in front of more people to help more of you guys. If you guys are watching this on the replay, which I figure it's the middle of the week on Wednesday after 4th of July, most of you guys are either hungover or back at work or both at the same time. So you guys might have to catch the replay. If you do that, hit replay, right? Type replay out in the chat. For those of you guys that are live right now, though, this is super important. In order for us to interact with you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually be watching the feed on Facebook. So if you guys have any questions that come up, we're going to try and do a Q&A at the end of this. Drop those in the comments to this video. I'll be able to see them, and we'll be able to actually bring those up with them and hopefully walk through and answer any questions you have. If there's some questions that we're going to be covering down the road next week or a couple weeks after, we might give you some brief information, and we might say, hey, hang tight for a minute. We're going to cover this in super, super detailed fashion in a week or two, right? So without further ado, I would like to introduce you guys to Ben. This is Benjamin Olson. Ben?
Hey, thanks, Garrett. All right. Hey, everybody. So with that beefy intro, I'm just going to kind of jump right into it again. What the main goal here of what we're trying to do is to provide you with like a comprehensive understanding of what SEO is, empower you to implement effective SEO strategies on your own sites, and to hopefully kind of demystify a lot of the any of the stigmas or any of the questions surrounding the complexities that come with doing something like SEO, especially in the context of FFL businesses, because I know it's like a heavy regulated industry. And it can be difficult to know where to start, what to do, so on and so forth. I believe we have, it's going to be a 10 or 11 part course, so to speak, to kind of break down each individual section of what SEO is. And hopefully by the end of this, you guys will have a solid understanding of basically like what it is, how to implement it, and you have a good resource to go back to if you have any questions, because I'm trying to be as available to everybody within the group itself to answer as many questions as possible. So with that said, in this session, we're just going to dive into what SEO is, why it's going to matter for your business, and just give you an overview of the major components of SEO in general as we move forward. This will also be a good outline for what we'll be doing and discussing week over week for those next 10 to 11 weeks. So, I mean, to start with, I'm going to jump right in, defining what SEO is. It's basically search engine optimization, and what it is a digital marketing strategy that's aimed at improving a website's visibility in search engine results. Now, the search engine in particular that I focus on is Google. However, these do work for Bing. Yahoo might even have a search engine. However, Google has such a major, I don't know why I shouldn't use monopoly, but it really is. The vast majority of people that are searching for anything are using Google. So that's why I focus almost solely on that. SEO involves optimizing various elements on your website, from its content to its structure, so that you make it more attractive to search engines like Google. All of these search engines use that funny math, right? Where you have letters instead of numbers, and using those algorithms. And what we try to do is plug in as many key components into each section of that algorithm to give us the best chance of ranking for whatever search terms we decide our key audience is gonna be searching for. The basics of understanding what SEO is, it means you have to understand how a search engine works. They basically operate in 3 different steps. There are steps. Number 1 is crawling. They send out crawlers or bots. You might see this in your server logs if you get that detailed. But what they're trying to do is find new and updated content on the web. Next step would be indexing it. That's where they find new content and they store it and organize it into their library or index. And then the last part is ranking it, so that when a user performs a search, the search engine sifts through its index to provide the most relevant and high quality results. SEO techniques in general are designed to make this process work in your favor, ensuring your site gets crawled, indexed, and ranked favorably here. All right, good point. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you guys can see what we have. And I have a set of slides. Can you go ahead and make sure I can share? All right.
You should be able to.
All right, cool. Can you see this all right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So again, these SEO techniques are designed to make this process work in your favor. Again, ensuring your site gets crawled, indexed, and then ranked favorably. Organic search is going to refer to the non-paid results that appear in a search engine results page. So basically, if you just go in here, and I constantly go back to the AR15, this is going to be an organic result. And obviously mine's going to look a little bit different. I have several tools that I have loaded up on my browser. This isn't always the best. I'm trying to think of a term. I'm trying to look for a paid ad, but I guess if you want to do something like credit card. Archery. Yeah, that was the one. So we have these
Archery usually has paid ads,
right? So these are paid ads. We're not too worried about that. And then everything underneath it is going to be your organic search results. So this is what we're going to be primarily focused on. Now, there's actually 2 different type of organic results. Near me. I'll just use a near me term because it should open up the 2 different types. This right here where you see places, this is going to be your Google Maps. This is your local search. This is what's relevant to you. And in some instances, we'll also see these organic searches roll up, but these can be localized. They can be national, but there are the reason why I want to bring this up and distinguish the 2 is because the tactics that we use for SEO to rank in this map pack are going to be different than what we'll use to rank in the national results down here. The techniques work together, but you can't do one and expect to hit both, but you can do it all and expect to get everything else. One thing I've always highly encouraged people to do, and this is one of the things with this industry that's difficult, is I look for like total page 1 domination. And one of the only ways to do that is also to do sponsored ads. But for right now, it's always best to focus on these 2 areas, get that organic or free traffic here. Let's see here. Investing in SEO to boost organic search results is crucial because it offers long-term benefits, cost savings over paid advertising, contributes to building your brand's credibility and trust among your users. The biggest difference between the 2, while paid search can provide quick visibility, organic search is more sustainable and cost-effective in the long run. Users often trust organic search results more than paid advertisements. Therefore, a strong organic presence can enhance brand trust and loyalty. In the FFL field, we almost have to solely rely on these types of results. Now, I know there's some good ways that I shouldn't say good, crafty ways we use paid advertising in what we do, but In the end of
Ben,
it,
can you go back? So on this page right here, right? So organic search is more sustainable and cost effective in the long run. Obviously, most of these guys being FFL dealers are having issues running paid ads, but can you just briefly touch on that and explain a little bit how this is more sustainable and cost effective in the long run for somebody that maybe is able to do both, or just that's interested in SEO in first place, maybe compared to like a billboard or like golf cards at the local golf course or whatever other, gimmick there is out there.
sure. So let's say you want to make a lot of money, right? So what's a really good way to make a lot of money? You got to think either short term, long term. Long term, you're going to invest it, right? So SEO is your investment. Short term, you might go out and do something a little more risky. You might think you're going to go make money at a casino, something along those lines. Trying to make money in the long run using a casino is going to be very costly to you, right? Because it's the house, it's set against you. Google makes almost all their revenue from their paid ads. So that's why one of the things they're getting more prominent with, like how much ad space is taking up. But at the core of it, anybody can come in and just start bidding on keywords. I don't know what I guess outbid would be the term I want to use. But at the core of it, what happens with SEO is what I do today will still be effective 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 3 weeks, 5 weeks down the line, 6 months down the line. And it builds on that initial investment that we have. So month over month, we want to continue to do this because we can essentially, I don't want to say stop SEO. I like to use the two because it in essence, my biggest thing when I look at what's the difference between SEO and what's the difference between paid traffic is how soon do you want your service to sell, somebody to buy your product. With paid search, you should usually get somebody to buy within 7 days. With SEO, it can take 3 to 5 months, but once you have that, it stays, right? As long as another competitor doesn't come along the lines. With paid advertising, depending on how you want to do this strategy, you're usually focused on a smaller section of like keyword terms or search terms that people are using. Where SEO, you get the advantage of going broader. You start incorporating larger mixes of keyword terms within your strategies. So instead of bidding on 30 or 40 different keywords with paid advertising, that could all be $1 or $2 each, and you got to spend that every day per click. With SEO, you can just incorporate all 30 keywords within your strategy and you invest in those long-term. So it cuts the cost down. Unless there's a different way you wanted me to explain that. I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges for me with the FFL industry is like how to distinguish between paid and organic. In this sense, it's just where you kind of rank on the page because we're really restricted in what we can do with the paid stuff.
For sure. Real quick, that reminds me of an analogy that I like to use all the time in this when referring to this type of stuff. So for those of you guys that are able to run paid ads, and even if it's not Google ads, right? Even if you're running like display ads on like Gunbroker or a forum or whatever it is, right? The way that I like to refer to that type of stuff is when you run paid ads, basically when you start paying for the ads, they show up. So it's almost like you turn on a water faucet, right? And all of a sudden you have a quick flow of water. But what happens is when you stop paying the ads, that faucet turns back off. So it's one of those things where you have to be doing it consistently all day, every day, on weekends, on holidays. You're paying for advertisement all the fucking time. Okay, or else the faucet turns off. SEO to me has always been a lot more like pushing a snowball down a hill. And as that snowball rolls down that hill, it gathers more snow and it becomes bigger and bigger and much harder to stop. So that's an analogy that I like to use because for me, it kind of helps me like understand the difference between the two and how it's a lot faster to get water by turning on the sink. But once it's off, right? The snowball going down the hill, once it gets big enough, you won't be able to stop it, right? So hopefully that helps some of you guys out and you can move on.
Awesome. Thanks, Garrett. So the impacts on your SEO is going to be on your web traffic. It's a significant role in driving that traffic to your site, ranking higher on search engine results, or SERPs generally leads to more clicks and visitors to your site. One of the common things that gets analyzed year over year is how many people are actually clicking on these organic search results. One of the things I've noticed is that depending on the agency you go to, some people might say, yeah, I'll get you on page one. Well, where you end up ranking on page one is going to be important. Like if you're on the bottom of page one, you're only going to get roughly 6 to 10% of that search traffic actually going down and finding your result and clicking on it. Where if you're in one of the top 3 positions, you're looking at the majority of the traffic going through those search results. So it's a big difference, something to pay attention to. And more than just quantity, SEO also improves the quality of your web traffic because you're targeting specific keywords that are related to your products and services, and you're more likely to attract visitors who are genuinely interested in what you offer, which will and should lead to higher conversion rates. So.
Cool. So something to interject in here too, guys. A lot of you guys, when I talk to you, one of the big things that we like to try to help you with is, drop shipping in particular, right? So one of the major problems with drop shipping that I hear from you guys on a regular basis, and I see it, is you get people that are doing this out of their garage or whatever, and they're marking things up like 3%, 1%, 5%, right? They don't care. It's a side gig. They're doing this out of their garage or whatever. It's just not important to them to actually make a profit through this. And so with what Ben was talking about, improving the actual quality and quantity of the search results, you can actually target specific keywords that are high ROI for you guys. And what that means is, like, let's say you're a Benelli dealer, a Kimber dealer, a Knights Armament, we can, I can name all the names, right? LWRC, whatever it is, right? If not everybody else can sell those, you have somewhat of a niche in a market that, most of those people that are doing the drop shipping can't access. So if you go in and you specifically target some of these keywords, whether it's in your local area or if you want to, get that snowball rolling down the hill enough to target this stuff nationally, you have a huge opportunity, one, to show up in front of more people for higher ROI keywords, and you have a lot better opportunity to actually convert people that are searching for that stuff into a buyer of your product at a higher margin, which then allows you to run your business properly. If you're not making any fucking money, like, this isn't going to work, right? So you guys that are brick and mortar and things like that, this is particularly important for you guys because it's important for you to make a higher margin, right? You have the overhead of having a shop. Maybe some of you guys are doing machine shop, a range, all this other stuff. So higher margin stuff just completely makes sense. So hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of brought it up too with the importance of local. So I always go to the AR-15 term. It's going to be extremely, I don't want to say extremely challenging, and it's a long-term goal if you really want to rank your site for AR-15. However, if you try to rank for that same term within your own city, it's going to be much easier to do it, right? So localized search results, especially for brick and mortar. But to continue on, the importance of SEO, again, is to reach the right audience. It also will help you improving your online reputation and to outperform your competitors. One of the things I see is that obviously at the top end of almost every single result that I've ever seen in my entire career at SEO, there are people that are actively doing SEO. You don't just rank there by chance. So it can happen if you're an authority site, but an authority doesn't become an authority in any niche or market without actually investing a little bit in SEO. So for the FFL businesses, reaching that right audience is critical. And then with targeted SEO, you can appear in search results for individuals actively looking for your products. So if you don't sell any Glocks, there's no reason for you to be going for or trying to rank in Glock keywords. And it's like Garrett said, you can hyper focus on any specific competitive advantage you might have based on the situation or the agreements you have with certain manufacturers within the market. It also plays a crucial role in managing your online reputation. When it comes to local SEO, you have the reviews, things like this. You also get to kind of ensure that what gets put out about your brand comes from your own voice. And that keeps it positive and relevant information about your business, and make sure that it appears high in search results. Because you want people to find you. 9 times out of 10, somebody's going to look you up before they buy from you. And then in this world, it's pretty competitive. So making sure that you're using targeted SEO tactics will give you a crucial edge over your competition.
Now, guys, brick and mortar guys in particular, another thing that's going to be super important to this is, been brought up local results. If you guys have a range, whether it's indoor, outdoor, or whatever, or if you're doing local repair work, any type of machining, any type of stuff like that, of course you guys can get, especially for like repair work and stuff, of course you guys can get clients from across the country. But if you're not showing up for like shooting range near me, or firearm repair near me, or anything like that, you're leaving money on the table that somebody else is going to swoop up, right? Even if you guys are in an area where you don't have much competition, if you don't show up for those terms at all, somebody further away from you in a larger city might be taking that spot. So something to kind of think about there.
Yeah, and that's kind of the out of the box thinking. Like at the end of the day, I think a lot of people want to sell their products, but if you have a unique advantage over some other gun shop, do you offer a CC class, right? Do you offer the gun ranges? Look at those perspectives, because it's actually easier to market those in general. We're not as restricted, but thanks, Garrett. The major components of SEO are going to be comprised of items like keyword research, on-page, off-page, content strategy, doing analytics, doing technical audits, making sure you stay current. And I'm just going to briefly go over each section. One thing I want to highlight is that everything that we're talking about here, we're going to have a unique weekly podcast about, right? So like next week, we're going to go over tools, and then the following week it'll be audits and so on. So the major components of SEO, the first thing that comes to mind for me is going to be keyword research. You have to understand why it's important, and then what the basics are, because again, the difference between going for a term like AR-15 versus AR-15s in Appleton, Wisconsin, night and day as far as what I want to target, especially if I'm a shop in Wisconsin or something to that effect. But at the end of the day, keyword research is a cornerstone of SEO. It helps you understand the terms your audience is using to search for your products or services. And then with that knowledge, it allows you to optimize your content, your metadata, and just really overall how you build your strategy. And sometimes I shouldn't say sometimes, it's absolutely a crucial component to building your site as well. There are plenty of tools out there designed to help with keyword research. One of the biggest and easiest tools to use is Google's Keyword Planner. You might as well go straight to the horse's mouth to see the amount of people that are searching for your tool or for your keyword terms or your products. There's other third-party brands like SEMrush and Ahrefs. Personally, I prefer Ahrefs. There's some free and inexpensive solutions out there like Keywords Everywhere and so on. I will get into that more next week as far as tools are concerned. But it's really important that we get the distinction to understand what the difference between a long tail keyword is, which is more specific. It tends to be lower volume, and then a short tail keyword where it's more general, higher volume keywords. We had a really good example of this the other day in the group where somebody had asked about Palmetto's armories and how they do their titles versus like a Daniel defense. So I broke it down in there. Maybe we can drop a link in the comments for that. But that's why it's crucial to do the keyword research up front. The next major component of SEO is going to be on-page SEO. That's where we take the keywords that we're trying to rank for. We optimize pages for the keyword term itself, including items like the meta tags. Even your URL structure is important, and also even your user experience, right? We want to make sure that whatever somebody's searching for, when they find our page, we're serving up the correct information based on what they're looking for. We don't want somebody to land on a product page for an AR-15 if all they're trying to figure out is what is an AR-15, right? That would be more of an informational keyword term that we would try to go for, but we would still want to make content around what is an AR-15 to help us rank for one of our AR-15 products. So
hey Ben, something that I want to bring up real quick. You had mentioned it in here, the last slide back, and then we're actually probably going to talk about it more when we talk about some of the technical aspects of SEO.
Sure.
But you had mentioned that a lot of this stuff is actually baked into the site itself, right? So
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons that some of you guys, when you talk to me, you're like, hey, I already have a website. It's a GoDaddy website or whatever it is, right? It's a Gearfire website. Can you help us with SEO? And many of you guys, in most cases, 9 out of 10, I'm going to tell you that I most likely won't be able to help you. And the reason being is because I'm trying to think of a good analogy to use, but basically what happens is most of these platforms, particularly the turnkey ones like Gearfire, Ready, that type of stuff, are going to be super, super limited. And some of them might not be structurally set up properly in order to optimize around SEO. So what that does is you might be decorating the interior of an office or a hotel or a house or whatever it is. Let's say it's an Airbnb for the example, right? You have this Airbnb, you're decorating the inside, but it's in the middle of a forest and nobody can even find it in the first place, right? So
Right.
what I'm trying to get at with that is that some of these platforms are just really going to be relatively unusable, and you're not going to have the opportunity to rank high no matter what you do. So, some of you guys, when I turn you down for like doing SEO work or whatever, and I say that we generally like to work with clients that we build their website, that's not just to make more money for our business or whatever. It's because we can actually have absolute control over the
Right.
whole experience, from the click on Google, the search term used, the click on Google, what they read in that description as they click it, all the way to how fast the page loads, how it looks, the colors, the feel, all the data on that page, are the photos, literally everything, all the way through the process of them checking out, becoming a lead that you can then follow up with. Everything is all built and structurally organized around this being an optimized process. So it's not something that's done after the fact. That's usually the worst way to do SEO. They mentioned that you guys want to have it planned from the very beginning of the building of the website, right? So I just wanted to throw that in there for you guys.
Yeah, that's incredibly important. I mean, you really need to have a good understanding of the market you're in, what your users or potential buyers are actually searching for, and then making sure that you have a foundation that is SEO sound, right? I've seen some pretty funky URLs, titles, and stuff like this, but it's all relevant to what we're trying to do. I think the biggest challenge in this industry is a lot of the times these products get fed into our either our client sites, or you're just a typical FFL owner who's trying to run their site, and then you got to think, like, there's probably thousands and thousands of other sites getting the same information. Google does not want to crawl pages, even if they're on other sites that have the same titles, same descriptions, same content. In fact, it's very difficult to tell Google, like, hey, we're worthy of being put in your index. Like, why should, that's why actually I put out Gunner, our SEO guy, AI tool, to help with that. The more unique your site is, the more Google's going to want to put it in their search index. So, but that's on page. There's a lot more to it. It's going to be, like, there's pictures, there's a lot that goes into it, and we'll definitely cover that more when we get to the on page section as well. Another major component of SEO is going to be off-page SEO. This is going to be your backlinks, your socials, your brand mentions, your citations, press releases, all that stuff. It involves actions taken outside of your own website that impact your rankings within the search results, such as earning backlinks from reputable sites. I really don't care what anybody says. Backlinks are still the single most important factor Google uses to help it determine how it's going to rank a site. Now, it's not going to rank something that you might, like, you could backlink and use a certain text and point it to a page that isn't about that text. Google will pick up on that content and that they don't mix. Content is important, but backlinks are just that much more important. Social signals like shares, likes, and tweets and brand mentions also fall into off-page SEO. It does help Google determine if your site's popular and relevant enough. It isn't exactly a ranking signal. What I've learned over the years, and this is kind of technical, but social signals will tell Google, like, hey, we need to go crawl the site. It helps with indexing. So, but that's what I mean when we talk about off-page elements. Another major component is going to be the technical SEO side. That's your site speed. Is it mobile friendly? Are there sitemaps? Are we using schema markup? a lot of this stuff might be foreign terms to you guys, but in an essence, what we're trying to do is make the site more efficient for search engine spiders to crawl and index, including aspects like the site speed, making sure it works on a mobile device, making sure that we use a sitemap that's well structured, and we use up schema markup code to help the search bots understand what the page and the content's about. All those things working together make it more appealing to Google. And really, a lot of this stuff is like checking off little bits and pieces of the algorithm. And the more stuff that we have crossed off, the higher quality of a site Google's going to see we're putting out there for their searchers. Next section is just going to be a quick introduction to SEO tools. In the world of SEO, several tools can make your work easier and more effective. Some of these essential tools include Google Search Console, analytics, and various keyword researches tools like SEMrush and Ahrefs. Honestly, the best SEO tool that I have is my brain and my experience. A lot of the time, that is what helps me, and that's my go-to. But Google Search Console helps you monitor, maintain, and troubleshoot your site's presence in Google search results. Analytics allows you to analyze in-depth details about the people visiting your website, shows you where they come from, provides valuable insights even about their market information. Are they man, a woman, or stuff like this. And then keyword research tools aid you in finding the right keywords to target in your SEO efforts, helping you to drive targeted traffic to your site. Again, these are just tools. Some of it's like you have to use your best judgment. But again, what I tend to do a lot is compare it to what Google already is rewarding in the search that I'm trying to rank a page for, and just do it better. In week 2, we're going to get more into this. So that'll be next week. And we'll show you some of the tools and the stuff that we use in our own SEO processes and why we use them. But they're a critical part of any success for SEO strategy. What it actually helps me do is analyze more data and spits out stuff that it's easier for me to detect. I use a lot of correlation tools. Now, correlation doesn't equal causation, which means just because you're seeing something pop up several times doesn't mean that's the reason why they might be ranking well. But it does give me an advantage when I'm trying to optimize businesses and searches and stuff like that. So the next step is going to be SEO and content marketing. There's two sides of the coin, right?
Then I have something real quick. So something that you brought up that I think is important that we kind of clarify. You said with the SEO tools, and we'll cover this next week in more detail. But something that's super, super important that a lot of people don't necessarily realize is if we go back to the analogy of decorating the Airbnb, right? Most people don't go out and look at other Airbnbs and figure out, okay, these are the ones that are the top sellers in my community. These are how the house looks on the outside. Here's how the house looks on the inside. Does it have a pool? Does it have a garage, right? The reason I'm saying this is because if you're not analyzing the top competitors in the market, meaning the people that are ranked at the top, whether it's local, right, and it's a shop that's your competitor across the city, or it's Palmetto or Bud's Gun Shop or whatever it is, if you're not actually looking at what they're doing and then figuring, breaking that down and then actively trying to do it better, then what you're doing is you're kind of just guessing. You're like, you're going to waste a lot of time, right? I don't know about you guys, but my time is worth a lot of money, right? So if you guys are just sitting there on the weekends, like, putting your kids off to the side and, sitting here on the computer tweaking out, doing these like meta tags and descriptions and stuff, but like nobody's even going to your website because you don't have any backlinks or, whatever it is, right? You might be, again, decorating a house that nobody's ever going to find, and it's just a waste of time. So to summarize what I'm saying is like the competitive research with using some of these tools is going to be one of the biggest cheat codes that you can do, because basically you just look and say, okay, like who's already killing it at doing this? Let's do what they're doing. But as Ben said, let's do it better, right? That way you have a guide on what you need to do and how you need to do it. And you're not doing shit that's not beneficial, right? You're not just spinning your wheels but not going anywhere, right?
Right. Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of analogies we can come up with based off of what industry and, but it's like you wouldn't go to a shooting range and just start shooting your gun everywhere, right? Like, first of all, that would never happen. But second of all, you want to know where your target is. And that's really what a lot of this research is. That's why it's so important for us to have a good foundation and then also incorporate it into our overall strategy as well. So another aspect to this is going to be what we do for content. And when I say content, I'm talking potentially blog posts, items like this, because this is what focuses on attracting different buyers at different parts of your journey. But one of the biggest things that we want to do when we're trying to rank a site within Google is make sure that we cover a topic as best as we can, answering questions to common answers that common, your everyday potential gun owner, purchaser, somebody who's looking to use a gun range, things like this are going to be searching for. You want to rank for that. And then keywords are an essential element of that, is because it's crucial to find those terms that they're searching for, right? So by including the right keywords in your content, you make it more likely to be found in search engines. When you produce good content based around these keyword terms and questions and things that everybody's searching for, it'll help give other sites something to link to. And then so on and so forth. What it ends up doing is they work together to improve your website's visibility and user engagement. You don't just want to always be pushing like, hey, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this. That's kind of like a hook, right? Like you want to jab when you go into box, and your jabs are going to be your content. One of the things with blogs is like you can always chunk it down. You can start putting some of that content on social media, stuff like this, but it has general uses. What you're trying to do is cover a topic as best as you can. And that's where content marketing comes into play with SEO. Finally, let's see here. So the long-term nature of SEO, right? It's important to understand that SEO is a marathon. It's not a sprint. The nature of search engine algorithms and competition means that SEO requires consistent effort and patience to see results. Unlike paid advertising, which can drive immediate traffic, the results of SEO build over time. It's like that snowball Garrett mentioned. As your site becomes more aligned with SEO best practices and you build up a high quality content, your site's visibility and search engines results improve. One of the things you should always strive for when you're trying to rank a site for anything in Google is to become an authority in that topic. And one of the best ways to do it is to have plenty of content. However, you still have to look at how many backlinks or how many websites are linking to your site as well. So it's not about getting quick results. It's about setting up your website for sustainability success. Here's the other thing. Google is so full of different filters, patents, things like this. They actually have a patent called the false ranking patent. What this is a certain thing that they do whenever they detect any type of change that could impact SEO. They immediately go out and give you a false rank. And that false rank won't fall off, and you won't find out where you're really going to rank for 3 to 5 weeks. So they bake it into the algorithm that it's going to take more time. And actually, I call it the spam hammer, because what they're trying to do is catch people like me doing SEO, and they can penalize you for it. So that's why you got to be patient when you do SEO. It's a long game. A lot of the time you're going to encounter, especially in this market, people who are so entrenched and ingrained, like it's going to take a while just to build up and get to where they're at. So that's
something
why
that I want to share around that real quick with you guys is the idea of the long game, right? So obviously we're all worried about paying our bills this week or whatever, the overhead, our employees and things like that. But what we want to focus on as business owners in general is thinking past this week, this month, this year. The long-term game is really where you see people become billionaires, and most of us are probably never going to make it there, right? But they're playing the long game, right? They're not gambling on something that might work, right? They're playing a game where they know that it's something that works, right? You see people investing in the S&P and things like that, Warren Buffett, that type of person, because there's not a lot of risk in it because they know that it works. It's been proven to work. Whereas you see a lot of people right now chasing all these shiny objects where they're like, I need this AI thing that does this. And yeah, a lot of it's cool. We use AI, right? But if you're playing the short game and seeking out those quick wins, like you're also like increasing your risk.
Yes.
And so like it's just one of those things that, like, if you can set yourself up, your mindset around, like, I know that I'm going to win because I'm going to be consistent enough in doing the things that I know that are going to work for a long enough time period, that it's going to be unreasonable that I don't win. Right. It's the same thing with your guys' social media content, right? You can't just, or we'll use social media, right? So you can't just go in and post like once a month and expect to make 100 grand that month, right? From your social media sales. You have to post multiple times a day on multiple platforms every single day for weeks, months, possibly, probably even years, right? All these people that you see that are successful, none of them are an overnight success. It's taken a long time of building up and doing the foundational things consistently over and over to get to that point. So I hope that makes sense. And I just want you guys to, like, think in terms of, I need to be consistent, but I need to be consistent in doing the right things. You can be consistent at going to work at McDonald's every day for your whole life, but like, you're never going to get ahead because you're being consistent at doing the wrong thing, right? Nothing against any of y'all that work at McDonald's part-time or whatever on the side of your gun gate. Hey, respect. But
Right.
consistency and doing the right thing together lead to like an almost guaranteed win in the long term.
Yeah. I mean, there's the potential of getting some quick wins, but I just know with SEO in general, there are so many shiny objects like, oh, you can use XYZ tool to build thousands of backlinks. Well, Google probably knows those backlinks, and when you build them, they're just going to penalize you versus trying to earn backlinks or working out relationships with other sites, stuff like this. Oh, you might need additional content. Well, why don't we just put up low quality content, right? Like, there's a lot of things that it's just better to do it right. Do it right from the beginning, and just move on from there, and just know that it's going to be an investment. There's always things that can come up where we can rank within a few weeks, but for the most part, it's probably going to take longer than that. So that's it. So that's basically it. So today was the intro. Next week, we'll go over tools. After that, it'll be technical audits, SEO stuff, because I want to make sure that we cover that. Then it's just going to be breaking down the keywords on page, content strategy off page, and then making sure you know how to measure the success and read analytics. So.
Cool. So there's like 6 of you guys in here. I see a couple of people have commented live. You guys rock. Happy to have you in here. If you guys have any questions, now would be a really good time to ask. Because if we don't get anything within a minute or two, we're going to go ahead and chop this off. Because we also have other work to do and lives and all that kind of fun stuff too. But yeah, so if you guys have a question, go ahead and put it in the comment of this live video. If not, like Ben said, next week we will be covering the actual tools and how we use them to find out the data that we need. Okay, so Donovan brought up may want to offer an opinion on Fiverr backlinks. Great thing to bring up, right? So Ben actually kind of just mentioned that a second ago, right? There are ways, and they're typically called like black hat or gray hat, which means that like they're not necessarily accepted or like cool with Google's terms, where you can go out and you can generate thousands of backlinks and things like that, right? And so Ben just mentioned that you can do that, but what's going to happen is it's going to be low quality content. It's going to be spammy websites. There's going to be like a bunch of Pakistan, India, China, whatever websites that are actually going to hurt your website more than they're going to help it. And Ben probably has more to add into that.
Yeah, so it depends on what backlinks are so general. What kind of backlinks, right? Like, I'd have to see them to understand like what we're looking at. But here's my, if it's generally open to the public, you probably don't want to get it. There have been some things, like I use Fiverr for some stuff, right? Like, I'm sure we all do. It's pretty inexpensive to get there and to use their service, but at the same time, like, I would avoid stuff like backlinks. 9 times out of 10, they're using some type of backlink tool that was effective 10, 12 years ago that just Google will just completely ignore the backlink, and you're just wasting your money. I know that there's some services on there where you can potentially get like guest posts. They're usually deceptive. You're probably paying for something you can get for free anyway. So I've watched several videos that said, don't do it. Yeah, I wouldn't do it. To be fair, it's just, I would have to look, is it a citation backlink? Are they going out and building citations? Like that might be okay. You have to know, like this is why, like we'll cover backlinks too in a few weeks and some of the off-page stuff, but I genuinely wouldn't get like a 500 backlink blast or something from Fiverr. I probably wouldn't get anything from Fiverr, to be honest with you, in the backlink realm.
Cool. I think we're pretty much at time, guys. So everybody that has tuned in, super appreciate you guys. We'll be back next week. The plan is to make it the same time, right? 1 p.m. PST. And we'll be covering the tools and how to use them and all that fun stuff. So plan on being there. I'll do a better job of promoting it this time, hopefully. And I've just been busy creating so much content and chatting with people.
Right.
But yeah, looking forward to catching you guys. Ben, do you have anything else before we head out?
No, I'm going to try to cover as much as we can week over week. If you have questions, come prepared to ask them. Happy to help. We may even have just a straight up Q&A session after we do all these, cover all the major points. But ideally, we're just here to help you guys kind of understand what SEO is and where to get the best help. You want backlinks, like I guess I won't cover that topic. I don't have much more to say. Just excited to be here. I can talk about SEO nonstop all day and go from there, but I know we're on a time limit. So.
All good, guys. So one last thing, of course, I'm going to get a pitch in here, right? I run a business. We do this for clients, just like you guys. So full transparency, this is, it is what it is, right? We do this, right? So if you guys are watching this stuff, one thing is I totally encourage you to understand how things work, right? I have a general concept of how my truck runs, right? But I'm not a mechanic in the sense of like, I'm not going to tear down the engine block and replace the rods, right? Or things like that. So if you guys are going through this and you're like, this is super cool. Now I understand, I have a better concept behind it, but I do not have the time or energy or manpower or whatever to do it yourself. Reach out to me. I would love to chat with you. If I feel that we might be able to help out, I will let you know, and I will most likely ask you if you want to work with us. If not, I will 100% tell you, hey, we're not capable of helping you in this situation. Here's what I would do if I were you. I would do X, Y, and Z, right? So I'm not here to push you guys into anything, but if this is something that you feel might be important for your business long-term, and you actually want to make something out of this business, this is one of multiple aspects of things that you're going to want to do. You have to show up in front of people that are looking for shit that you sell in order to actually be able to sell them something, right? The number one complaint, the number one problem that gets people on the phone with me every single day, I have probably 9 or 10 calls just this week alone, and 9 out of those 10 calls are literally going to be, I do not have enough traffic to make the amount of money that I want to make every week, right? It's the number one problem. We can't run paid ads. We can't do Facebook ads. We can't do Google ads. We can't do YouTube ads, right? So long-term, this is the most effective, least risky, and most profitable way to actually make this shit work and to get you guys the amount and the quality of clients that you're looking, well, I say clients, customers, whatever you want to call them, that you guys are looking to do. Cool. That's all I got for you guys. Okay. If you need help, just reach out to us. Right.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. All right. We're out of here. I will catch you guys later. This will be on YouTube as well. So if you guys want to catch the replay on YouTube, it'll be on there as well. Cool. Take it easy, guys. Peace.
Later.